The man who can control his hunger is far more dangerous than the one who can't. I've done this 7 or 8 times now. 3 days, no food, just water, maybe some electrolytes, black coffee. And every single time I come out the other side a better man. Not because of what happened to my body, but because of what happened in my head. Most guys hear the term 72-hour fast and think fat loss, better definition, and what the mirror shows. And that's fine. But if that's your only reason for doing a 72-hour fast, you're likely not going to make it through the entire process. Today, I'm going to show you what 72-hour fasts are actually for. And if you make it to the end of the video, you will never look at fast the same way again. Before we go any further, I am not a doctor and this is not medical advice. Do your own research, consult a professional. I am talking about my own personal experience. Now let's get into it. First things first, we can't neglect what actually happens inside of our body during a 72-hour fast. It's actually quite interesting. At around the hour 16 to 18 mark, our body switches over to using carbs or glycogen as fuel, totally burning out those reserves and switching over to ketones or fat as the primary energy source. This is when it starts to get a little bit hard, and this is where hunger starts to really hit, because most guys aren't used to using ketones as fuel. Most guys are used to using glycogen, and so that switch can be a little bit tricky. So if you can make it through this little hard part, it gets easier. And if you make it through the 24-hour mark, that is where the magic truly happens. 16 to 18 is where most people quit, because this is the first sign of it getting hard. But don't quit. Don't quit here, because everything interesting happens after that 24-hour mark. So from hours 24 to 36, where autophagy kicks in, your body's self-cleaning and self-cycling mechanism, where it's burning out bad cells and using them as fuel. And it's a self-cleaning mechanism that our body is wired to do. It is a way to stop all the digestive system and stop burning that energy that we have stored up from the glycogen in our system. And we're switching over to fat as fuel and also bad cells. So we're cleaning out our body. We're finally giving it a rest. And then hour 36 and beyond, your digestive system is fully resting. The cellular repair is happening at a level that no supplement really can replace. So it's really amazing what the body can do here in a fasted state. And this is what, we see animals doing when they get sick in nature. They stop eating because they know deep down that this is how the body can heal itself. So fasting is a way to truly heal your body. And yes, you will lose body fat throughout this process. The physical changes are real, but I believe they are just a side effect. The real adaptation is happening somewhere else entirely. So there's a lot of videos on YouTube about what happens to the body and how to tackle it. And I'm not really going to talk about that any further here. What they don't talk about enough, fasting is not a new trend. It's not anything new. It's only new to us because we've been engineered in a world where discomfort is optional and food is always within arm's reach. Like, dude, we can go to the drive-thru and get 2,000 calories and down it within seconds, okay? Or minutes, let's just say minutes. We can go to the store, grab the most calorically dense options literally possible. Like, cannot starve in this world. But here's what they don't talk about enough. Fasting forces you into a state most men avoid at all costs. Discomfort without escape. Just you and your thoughts. No food to reach for, no comfort available, nowhere to hide. The biggest thing that they don't talk about with fasting is you build impulse control. Every time hunger hits throughout the 3-day fast and you choose not to act, you are weakening that habit of immediate gratification. And if you just look around in the world, when one moment or one hard thing happens to someone, or you're waiting in line and someone's bored, immediately pull out the phone and start scrolling, looking for that quick dopamine hit. And so fasting is a way to rewire that for you. And secondly, your focus sharpens. When you are fasted, especially on day 2, you are burning ketones as energy. And this is a much more stable energy source. So it is a way to rig your focus and many men, including myself, have reported increased focus, especially on day 2 and 3. And it almost feels unnatural. You almost feel superhuman on that day 2. But it's not really unnatural. This is our body's natural mechanism. Think about, 10,000 years ago when our hunter-gatherer ancestors were limited for food. They had to go out and hunt and kill for this. So this is nature's way of wiring us to focus because if they didn't, they would literally die off. Okay, so we have carried on that biology. Third is that your standard resets. After 72 hours of no food, things start to feel a little bit easier. Waking up early starts to feel easy. Saying no to alcohol or ice cream or donuts feels easy. Skipping junk food feels easy. Everything that used to feel hard, you now have a different switch for. You're recalibrated to what actually feels hard. And fourth, and this is what most people overlook about the fasting, is once you complete your first 3-day fast, you rebuild self-trust in yourself because you committed to something and you got to the end and you showed that you can do it. You showed that it's possible. And this is something that nothing external can really manufacture. This type of satisfaction is internal. You did it, and it didn't really take anything. It was just not eating and just drinking water and some electrolytes. So the man who fasts only for the body will miss all these different benefits that I think are the most important things of the 3-day fast. And now let's take it a little bit deeper. Like I said, fasting was mentioned in the Bible over 70 times, and that's not a coincidence. It allows us space to deepen our connection spiritually, that higher power, the creator, whatever it may be, it deepens your connection there. For me, deepens my connection with God. And every single one of these fasts, like I said, has been different, but I've always come out on the other side with clarity on what I should be focusing on. And I've learned things about myself that I really can't replicate anywhere else. The guys who do this just for the body, they might do one and never go back to it because they weren't thinking about the real benefits they were getting. They were just looking at external. This is more of an internal benefit and tool in your arsenal. It's a connection to yourself that is nearly impossible to reach when you are just constantly consuming food, looking at your next Instagram reel or TikTok, reaching for that piece of sugary foods when you might have a little bit of more stress in your life or discomfort. So what remains is you in this process. And it's the clearest version of you without the noise clouding all these different thoughts. And this is why fasting has appeared in every serious spiritual tradition in human history. Jesus in the wilderness for 40 days before everything began. It was how serious men prepared for serious moments. They removed food to remove noise. And in the silence, they found something they couldn't access from inside comfort. So now, here's the protocol. Here's exactly how I run it. I pick a lower stress period time, typically on a Sunday. I will have my last meal on Sunday at 5 p.m. So you fast Monday and Tuesday, and then Wednesday at 5 p.m. you eat again. That's my simple structure that I go, but pick 72 hours for yourself. Maybe it's through the entire weekend, but I find it's easier to fast when I am busier. And Monday, Tuesday, I'm busier at work. And if I can just get through those nights and fall asleep, I'm winning. Especially once I get to day 2, I know I'm already there. What I intake is just water, electrolytes, black coffee. I might have some Zyn for nicotine. I might have some sparkling water or 0-calorie drinks. Basically, anything that has 0 calories is allowed. You can have gum, but just don't overdo anything that might make it too easy for you. Hydrate more than you need. Stay busy, work, and think. That's how I like to play this game. And then training. Yes, I like to continue to train. Your performance will suffer, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't train. And I think some of my day 3 fastest sessions were some of my best workouts because you know what real depletion is, but you still do it anyway. Push yourself when you're depleted and you find out what you're actually made of. So a lot of videos on here are going to say, oh yeah, don't train as hard. It's like, I like to keep the training intensity up, especially on a fast. Now, lastly, breaking the fast. This is where a lot of guys mess up. You know, you just went through one of the hardest things, you know, physically that you can go through that maybe you've been through in a while. It's a huge metabolic intervention. So don't blow it on that first meal. So your stomach has literally been empty and chilling. Your digestive system hasn't seen anything for 3 days. So we do not want to throw a massive meal at it. You're going to feel terrible if you do. So you can start with breaking your fast with warm bone broth, something to warm the stomach up. 1 or 2 smaller meals before you go to sleep at night. So I like to break it at night. I'm having a smaller meal, bone broth. You want to pick easy digesting foods, lean proteins. I throw in sometimes some blueberries, a couple eggs, some light vegetables, maybe a couple carrots, simple processing foods that your body agrees with. I know some people might do like a high fat steak or a high fat chuck roast or something. High fat doesn't always digest easiest after 3 days of no eating. So I think it's better to go on the lean protein source. But essentially, we want to reintroduce food slowly and not mess up these 3 days. Have 1 or 2 meals at when you break that fast. The next day, you gradually reintroduce foods. Keep those meals smaller. Whole, nutritious foods is the game. And whenever I've done a fast, I've found a deeper appreciation for food because like you're literally starving at the end of these 3 days. And so like that first bite of like even just like a chicken breast with like salt and pepper on it is just so delicious. So you almost reset your taste buds in a way and you have a deeper appreciation for those whole foods. So I think the fast really recalibrates your relationship with food in a way that just nothing else does. It's a quick way to reset the palate. I like to run the 3 day fast at least twice, maybe 3, 4 times a year, or whenever I feel like I need it. Maybe I notice I am chasing those instant gratification things and I'm ready for a reset. Maybe my digestive system feels a little bit off. I like to just throw them in when I feel like I need them. Now, my final thoughts. If you made it through this video, like you're definitely interested in fasting, but you don't need to do this. But if you are looking for an edge, a real one, not a shortcut, this is one of the simplest ways to find it. 3 days, no food. Can you do it? I didn't think I could, but I got to the end of my first one and it reset, like I said, what that caliber of heart is. At some point during those 72 hours, you will want to quit. Your mind, though, will build a compelling case for stopping. It will sound reasonable. It's like, oh, I've already made it 36 hours. Like, what's the difference, right? But don't quit if you're already going down this path. That voice is not you. That's the previous version of you telling you to stop. Show no mercy. Don't stop. Don't quit once you embark on your first 72-hour fast. Push through that discomfort because that is where the growth really lives. And this sounds weird, dude. It's like, but I'm serious. Every time I've done a fast, I've gotten better as a guy. Hand up. I'm telling you. So go find out who you truly are. Embark on this 72-hour fast if you're interested in leveling up and really getting that edge. Subscribe to my newsletter. Try out my beef jerky. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Peace.